if you're sick of our sex conversations, or if you don't have kids, I actually think this conversation applies to a much bigger thing than just like sex and kids. So I hope you stick around and give it a shot. Today's vlog, we are going to be just talking about one topic today, and you probably saw it in the headline or title. And this is a response to a comment we got for last week's Q&A. Someone we know that asked to remain anonymous. And this is the question. What if you are okay talking openly about sex with kids, but they aren't? No matter how much you tell them, they continue to hide and seek info elsewhere. First off, I really appreciate this question, and I think it's a really important one, and I actually feel like it's a really normal one. Just because we talk about our kids, and just because we talk about sex maybe more liberally than some, or proactively, doesn't mean A, that it's easy, or B, that they like really love it or appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Or don't seek info elsewhere, or come to us and are like, thanks Mom and Dad, we really appreciate that you guys are doing this for us. So we feel a lot of this too.
And each one of our kids is different. Some of them are too young to be embarrassed, and then some of the older ones are more just reserved about it and they don't want to talk about it. I do think it's important to take cues from your kids as to what they can handle, but I would say even if they feel uncomfortable about something, what I don't believe is, I don't believe that it's doing more damage to make them uncomfortable than it would be to just not talk about it at all. I think in our culture, when people get embarrassed and uncomfortable, we see that as a bad thing. And I do think sometimes it can be, but I just think we owe it to our kids to keep on talking about this topic, hard things. And I really believe that they may not come to you and thank you when they're adults, but I think they'll be grateful for it when they become older. And they can't see right now how they're going to be grateful for it. I mean, they're only kids.
It's tough because intimacy is hard, and sexual activity is one of the most intimate things you can experience. So, you know, for a kid to hear about it from a parent, in a way, it's like them saying, no, I don't want it, I want my space. And I think in a way, it's important to give our kids space, like space at their request. In another way too, I don't want to just like make it easy for them to have a ton of space. Like I want to keep on pursuing them. This goes way beyond sex ed. This is like, you know, sometimes my kids say like, I want to be left alone. I want to just be angry right now and pissed off at the world. I don't want a hug. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you that choice, but I'm going to ask you again. I'm like, listen, I want to hug you, and I want to just tell you everything's going to be okay, and I want to be close to you now. Will you let me? And then it's harder for them to say no, you know, the second time or the third time, even though if they keep on pressing, I'll be like, you know what, okay, fine. You know, you can come back to me when, like Cami said, you just don't like give up. Practically speaking, instead of going to kids and asking them to give us something, I think as parents, we have to start by giving them something.
Yeah.
And usually it's not the natural thing to do. Like we go to our kids and we're like, so do you have any questions? Which is like the most awkward thing you can ask a kid about like sexual questions. Like
adults don't even know how to, the right questions to ask.
Yeah, it's like, of course, a 13-year-old who's never like, who thinks it's weird and like perverted to even have these things, they're not gonna like offer up like what's actually on their mind. At least I don't plan on that. What we found with sex and really anything else is we have to offer something first to them. We have to tell them about our own confusion and struggles and questions and difficulty. And if you think it's age inappropriate to do that with your current stuff, one way you can do that is you can go back in time and tell them about what it was like when you were their age. So like, you know, when I was in 5th grade, that's when I saw my first Playboy, and I was really confused and I was really excited, and it was the best thing I ever saw, but I got busted for it and I didn't know what to do. And I think a lot of parents are actually embarrassed to talk to their kids about that. which is fine, but then it's actually, you're asking your kid to give you something that you're not willing to give them, and it makes a ton of sense in the world why they would never give it to you. Because it's like, we have to model like that it's okay and safe to share about this information. Otherwise, even though we say it like, oh, you can tell me, but we don't tell them, we're actually teaching them it's not safe.
Mm-hmm. Or it's just a one-way street.
Yeah, no one wants that. Most of the stuff, my guess is, for me at least, it was very embarrassing to talk about that stuff. You know, maybe it was immoral or you don't agree with it. Maybe it was like, it felt silly and it's hard to revisit that. But you know, it's really all we got as parents is our story. And I think it's one of the best things we can ever give our kids is our story and our experience. And I think you would be surprised how much they'll be able to relate to it. Like, no matter how good of a parent you think you are, you're doing a better job and they haven't done this. Like, and I think you'll also be surprised that they won't look down on you or us the way that we think. Like, you're kind of a built-in hero, like, already just because you're bigger. And I was like worried, like when I shared my stuff with my kids, like I was like, oh, they're gonna like judge me and look down on me. And I was like, oh, they just like look down on me and they're like, oh, they feel more comfortable around me and safe. And I'm still like dad to them. They didn't want to like disown me. Finally, if they are still not interested in talking and you know that they are getting resources elsewhere, I think we always just work with the best we can get. For me, I want to take whatever my kids will offer to me at any age. Even if I say to them, hey, would you be interested in me recommending some websites or resources to you, videos or books or this and that? But you know, I can't share with you, you're not going to take that, fine. But let me at least help direct you. Or would that be helpful to you? Or is there anything I can do, whether it's fund, pay for some things, or maybe it's a therapist, or maybe it's a class, I have no idea. Or maybe you're willing to talk to a friend that I trust, or watch these videos that I recommend. You know, if they'll take that, you know, I'm not saying every person, you know, needs to like have the exact same conversation. There's no magic bar, but I think we can all take what we can get. So that's all we got for you guys today. But my sneaking suspicion is that our kids are willing to take things from us, but it might not be the type of thing we want to give them. If you want to give them your advice and your counsel and your superstar stories about how things are now, like, you know, a lot of kids, and even for myself, when I hear that with people, I'm like, no, I'm not interested in hearing you talk down to me, basically. But when you can approach a kid and be like, man, this was really hard for me. Almost like I don't want to say a peer because I don't think it's a peer, but just like you're not better than them and you never were. To me, that's like irresistible. Like when you hear parents like really share those stories from their heart, like the honest stuff, the hard stuff, what kid can like turn that down? And I'm not saying it's like, you know, not possible, but I think it's gonna make it damn difficult for a kid to be like, nope, not interested in hearing about your 13-year-old days. Like, I mean, it's their story too that you're gonna be telling them. So valuable to offer that. So good luck with that. I hope that goes well, and I'd love to hear updates on that. Hope this is helpful to other of you guys out there who are wondering how maybe to talk to your kids about sex. And like I said, on a bigger topic, this is how we've realized it's actually better to talk about life with our kids. That's why the other day in the vlog when I shared with my kids about how I stayed up late playing video games, those moments, I love those moments when I'm like, you know, I just like totally failed. And the kids love them too because they hear me yelling at them so much. They think already that I'm like perfect and totally different from them.
Some of them were just giggling.
So you know, when we kind of like f up, leverage that and share it with them and be like, you guys, like, you know, we can't just lead them in our successes. I think we have to lead them in our failures. Because for most people, sex, for whatever reason, is surrounded in this fear of screwing up and shame and like confusion. So to act like we have it together, no one wants to hear someone talk like that. Cool guys, thank you. We're going out to our date night. This was a simple vlog, but great content. Am I allowed to say that about ourselves? I mean, I really like the topic. Great topic. Okay, bye.